Okay, we're going to get started now. Okay, we're going to get started now, Sonia. I'm going to follow you. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Hope everybody had a good breakfast and a good night's sleep. So we'll discuss the breakout rooms when it's time for that. So we'll just kind of put that on hold. And I want to welcome our first speaker. Stephen Hunt is a leading professional in the field of supported customized employment. Stephen began his work with Briggs & Associate as a career specialist in 2006 and currently serves as a regional director for Floyd, Bartow, and parts of Cobb and Paulding counties. Stephen serves as a lead trainer for new staff within Briggs & Associates. So we welcome him to talk about his customized employment.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure. Can you turn me down a little, please? Yes. Okay. As I was saying, it's really a pleasure for me to be here in Alabama. Roll Tide. All right, all right, all right. I know the language, okay? All right. We're here, we're going to talk about employment. I have a question though, and it's a question that I ask every single time that I do presentations. Who got to leave early today? Who got to leave early? 1, 2. Okay. All right. I can carry on. But if it was like say 3, then I would leave. Okay? Because I get offended real easy. I get my feelings hurt real easy. If you get up and walk out the room, I'm going to believe that is something that I say, and it's really going to hurt my feelings. And if you were here and you didn't come back after lunch or the first breakout, that's going to hurt my feelings too. However, if you stay until the end of the presentation, then it's really going to boost my personality and my confidence. And the next time I present somewhere else, I'm going to feel real good about myself. Are you all going to help me with that? All right. Okay. All right. Good. So, usually, this is my first time presenting in Alabama. And, yeah. And there's something that people ask me as I was coming here. The president of Briggs & Associates said, is there anything new that you're anticipating about going to Alabama as opposed to when you're going other places and have to travel through the airport? And I go, actually, yeah. And she said, what is that? I said, I'm going to miss my friend. And she looked at me all weird, like, your friend? I said, yeah, I'm going to miss my friend. You see, I have this friend that I meet at the airport every single time I travel. I didn't get to meet him today, this time around, because I drove up and he wasn't in my car. I stopped at the gas station and he wasn't there. But usually, every time I travel, I have this friend. It doesn't matter where I'm going. If I'm going to Mississippi, I meet him. If I'm going to New York, I meet him. If I'm going out of the country, I meet this guy at the airport. It doesn't matter what airport. And sometimes he looks different. Sometimes he's bigger, and sometimes he loses weight. Sometimes he changes his hairstyle and stuff like that. But it's the same guy. And I know for sure that it's the same guy. And this is how I know it's the same guy. Every single time we have the same conversation, 100% of the time, never fails. We have the same conversation. And if it would be surprising to you that this guy, I call him friend, but every time he has three questions that he would ask me. The first question he asked me is, hey, what's your name? And I'm like, I told you the last time, Stephen. And the second question is, where are you from? I tell him, man, I'm from. Y'all thought I was going to tell you where I'm from, right? And then, who can guess the third question that this guy asked me? Yeah. What do you do? You know him? Yeah. What do you do? Never fails. Every single time. And sometimes he jumbles the question. Sometimes the what do you do comes first. It all depends on how I'm dressed. But never fails. Every single time that I'm interacting with people, the question, what do you do, always shows up in the top three. Must be very important. Must be the way people sum us up. Must be the way we sum ourselves up. Because if I'm asking you, what do you do? It might be an important question for me. And if I'm getting the same question, because I ask the questions too. You see, I see people and I go, hey, what's your name? Where you from? What do you do? I remember I was 17. I remember very well. Because that year I didn't get anything for my birthday. And it scarred me. So I was 17. And I was dating this young lady. And she said, meet my dad. He's gonna love you. And I feel good. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna love me. And I walked up 17. And I remember Mr. Morris, he looked at me from head down to my toe. He did that like about 3 times. And he goes, what you doing with yourself, son? I'm like, what I'm doing with myself? I'm in school. I'm 17. What you expect? He goes, you don't have a job while you're in school? And I'm thinking about that with all the questions that I get now. And I realize that somehow in the society that we live, work is very important. Yet there is a group of people in our society that work is not on their menu. Not because they do not want to work, but because others deemed it that work is not important to them. I've done some research. And even though the greater percent of people with disabilities say that they want to work, the greater percent of them not working. Which means that they have desires that are not being met. Most of them are crying out, say, I want to work. But somebody's saying, nah, you don't need to work. If we don't accept that for ourselves and for other people, why do we do that? For our people, our families, our friends, members of our communities, why do we do that? Just because they have a diagnosed disability? Not cool. So we're going to talk about customized employment today. And my goal is that when we leave here, and before I go any further, do we have any parents in the room of people with disability? Okay, we have a lot. We have any staff members in the room? All right, cool beans. Yeah, I say that. Yeah. All right. It's just kind of like one. Who else in the room that I haven't mentioned? We got Dee Dee. Say that again. Okay, people with disability. All right. And the reason I didn't ask that is because I feel like all of us have a disability, so one way, form, or fashion. So that was intentional. Thank you. Yes. Other family members. Yes. Extended family members. Just support. Advocates. Okay. Awesome. All right. So I like this group. In fact, you are my favorite group that I've ever talked with. Good. You see, we got the language down, right? Okay. So the goal for today is to learn some key components about customized employment. We want to understand some practical implications of customized employment. And we're going to develop somewhat of a strategy to drive customized employment. And that last one there, I want you to understand, you're not going to walk out of here today and say, hey, I got all the nuts and bolts of customized employment. What you're going to get today is that, wow, customized employment is something magical, something that could benefit me well, or the people that I love well, and I want it. You're going to have all the information that you need to know that it is something that is very beneficial, and then you can reach out to the people in charge and say, hey, we want this. How can we get it? All right? And if you have any question, please feel free to stop me. This is a picture of Chris. Chris has something that most of you may know. It's called a bad attitude. He has it. Now, I've never seen it in Chris, but I've seen behaviors, but I've never seen a bad attitude. In fact, I've never ever seen a bad attitude in my entire life. But I know that Chris has a bad attitude because at least 50 people that know Chris told me that he has a bad attitude. And if 10 people tell you something, you start believing it, right? Now it's 5 times 10, 50. My math is good. So Chris has a bad attitude. Now, here's where this came from. Chris used to work at a place called Kroger's. Anybody know what Kroger's is? Yeah, I was in Minneapolis a couple of weeks ago, and I said, Kroger's, and they look at me like, what's that? And I looked at them like, what's wrong with you all? Y'all ain't got no Kroger's up here? Anywho, so Chris used to work at Kroger's, and Chris was a bagger at Kroger's, and Chris wouldn't smile. In fact, every time I pass by Kroger's and see Chris, I can see him saying, I just want to get out of here. And while he's there wanting to get out of there, then you would find people come and go, what are you doing? You just put my meat on my bread. You just broke my eggs. And Chris wasn't having it. He just didn't like it. And every week, Chris, career specialist, some people call them job coach, would have to go into a meeting with Chris. And it so happened that one of my colleagues, Chris, got transferred to her caseload, and she was talking to me about Chris. And I go, you all haven't gotten it yet? Chris told you that he doesn't want to be in Kroger's. Why is he still there? When I don't want to be somewhere, I get up and I leave. Why? Chris don't have to stay at Kroger's. Kroger's is not the only job in the world. So they go, what do you think? I go, do discovery with him. Now we're going to talk about discovery this afternoon. I said, do discovery with him. And they did the discovery and they walked. The discovery took them through into Chris' house and even into Chris' bedroom. They took Chris out into the community. And everything about Chris says, I love cars. I want to be with cars. Cars make me pop. And so they went to Toyota in Kennesaw. And they said, we have a young man here named Chris. Hey, he's right. Where is? Oh, he's over there looking at the cars. And the manager goes, I like that guy. Let's hire him. And they hired him. Now, Chris loved cars, but he was not a mechanic. So when he got the job, his job was to just hand the tools to the mechanics and clean the tools and stuff like that. But Chris got inquisitive and started to ask questions. And what if I do this? What would happen? They go, you would probably blow something up. What if you do this? What if I do that? Well, that would work. And they go, you know what? You're going to work 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. 3 of those hours, you will clean tools and you will pass the tools and stuff like that. But for the next hour, we're going to train you to do things like oil change and filter change and tire rotation and stuff like that. And just like that, Chris is smiling at work. Look at the guy. And I went there to visit Chris, and I asked his supervisor, how is the bad attitude going? And his supervisor goes, the what? I said, the bad attitude. Chris has a bad attitude. You don't know that Chris has a bad attitude? They go, what are you talking about? You look like you have a bad attitude. Chris' bad attitude, that they called it at Kroger's, was just a means of communication that I don't want to be here. And if we can just listen closely to people, we will hear what they're saying and we will arrive at the destination that they're trying to go, and they will be successful. It all begins with our philosophy, though. If you have the right philosophy, you are going to end up at the right place. If you have a philosophy that it can be done, it will be done. If you have a philosophy that it cannot be done, it's not going to happen. I promise you that. I remember I was in college and I called up a close relative of mine. He's not listening, my brother. And I was about 23 at the time, and I said, I'm going to buy a house. And he goes, you're going to do what? I said, I'm going to buy a house. And I'm smiling as I was telling him, and he's smiling as I'm telling him, but my smile is saying, I'm happy that I'm going to buy a house. And his smile is that there's no way that's going to happen. But the truth is, I bought a house when I was in college. Because I was in college and I'm like, I'm paying rent. And all my friends are paying rent. What if I buy a house and live in one section and rent it out to my friends, the next section? And I did that. And I told him I bought a house, and he goes, how you did that? I go, my philosophy. I have a philosophy that it can be done. You have a philosophy that it cannot be done. Jokers still haven't bought a house yet. He's not listening. When I see him later, I go, hey, how you doing? Good to see you, man. You're my role model. Not. So your philosophy is going to break you or make you. In fact, one smart individual said the right philosophy is the distance between excellence and mediocrity. You're either going to be great, with your philosophy, or you're going to be a bum with your philosophy. So, Briggs and Associates is where I work. We have a philosophy. Jennifer Briggs is our president. And the philosophy is that anyone who has the desire has the ability to be successful in the workplace. And anyone there means anyone. Anyone who has the desire has the ability to be successful in the workplace. Now, the first time I heard that, I want to tell you all that I didn't believe it. I remember when I went for my interview in 2006, and Jennifer, she said, anyone, and I mean anyone who has the desire, has the ability to be successful in the workplace. I go, oh, you don't know the people that I know. I know some people, and I know it doesn't matter what you do, they're never going to be successful. I'm thinking about Denzel. I'm thinking about Aston. I'm thinking about Cheryl. I'm thinking about all of these people, and they're not listening, so I can call their name right now. They're never ever gonna see this presentation. So I'm listening. I'm thinking about these people, and I'm like, there's no way on God's green earth this statement can be true. Anyone? Can we just say most people? But of course, I wanted the job, and I'm like, okay, all right. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, they're just exaggerating like everybody else. And then training day came, and I went out with this lady. Her name is Claudette Swoop. And I'm following in my car behind her, and she stopped at this place of business. And she said, okay, this is where Michael works. And I walked in, and I saw Michael. And she's talking to Michael. And Michael seemed like he had not a clue what she's saying to him. And I'm like, yeah, that philosophy is about to prove itself wrong. I know I was right. And I walked in, and then she goes, come on, Michael. Come and show Stephen what you do. And Michael never said a word, not a single word. He just walked to his place of work. And he started to fold towels, and he started to put them in a container. And one of the towels did not look exactly right, and he took it out, and he refolded it. And I'm standing there, and I'm watching like, this philosophy could be correct. But let's test it some more. And then I went to about 4 more places. And the more we go, the more it looked impossible for these individuals to work. But the more we go, and I meet these people who, in my mind, they just, I would say they are unemployable. They're doing great things in the community. And so I got home that afternoon. And I said to my wife, I said, I got something to tell you. And she said, what? Why are you so happy? She goes, I know you got the job. I go, yeah, they're going to keep me too. But that's not what I'm going to tell you. I got something to tell you. She said, what? I said, anybody who has the desire has the ability to be successful in the workplace. And she goes, huh? I said, no. I said, anybody who has the desire has the ability to be successful in the workplace. And she said, baby, you're losing me there. I thought you were smart when I married you, but you're not. So I said, baby, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what the disability is, people can work. And she goes, you're crazy. And I go, no, don't say that. Don't say that, because I hurt my feelings. But over the years, my wife started walking around telling people, anybody who has a desire, has the ability to be successful in the workplace. I know that because my husband does it every day. And the truth is, this is our philosophy. And this is what sets us apart from every other supported employment agency and customized employment agency that I know. Because when people come to us, we already conclude that the fact that they're in the room talking to us, they have the ability to be successful. The truth is, even though I might not know how to help them, does that mean that they don't have the ability? You see, my lack of skills and my lack of knowledge does not equate to your inability. So the fact that I doesn't know how to get to Atlanta from here, it doesn't mean that nobody can get to Atlanta. There is a way to get to Atlanta. I just got to discover it. And it's the same thing. Our philosophy tells us we just got to discover it. So this is a picture of Matt. Matt uses a wheelchair to get around. And Matt's my buddy. And Matt give me a very hard time. When we met Matt has been going to a day center. And they said to Matt, well, you can't walk, and there's not a lot of things you can do, so you can't work. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me right now? I can walk out the door, and I can bring you 50 people easy who are working, and their job does not involve walking. So, because I can't work, because I can't walk, I can't work. And this is why I think job interviews are dumb. I think job interviews are the most ridiculous things in the world. Have you ever read a job description and it goes, you need 5 years experience to do this? Have you ever asked the employer, why 5 years? Why not 4? Why not 6? Because every job experience is out there is like 5 years. Why 5 years? Well, somebody put it on a paper once, and everybody came after, and they started, and they go, okay, let me put 5 years experience. It doesn't mean anything. Nothing. Or people ask you questions like, they give you this application, and if you can't fill out this application online, your job is to lick boxes, but if you cannot fill out an application online, they go, you can't get this job. It doesn't make sense. So my thing about job interview is when I go to employers, I go, let's talk about the person's ability to do what you want them to do and how we can help them to get to the place where they can start doing that, because all of this does not prove anything. So Matt, they said he can't walk, so he can't work. And I said, yes, he can. So what are you going to get him to do? Okay, let's get to know Matt. Matt is a people's person. Matt never met a stranger. Matt is someone that you want in your business to greet your guests and show them around. Matt is intelligent. Matt learns things fast. We went to this movie theater and talked with the manager. As I introduced him and say, Matt is a friendly guy, he goes, I can see. And within 15 minutes, Matt had a job offer. And Matt has been working at that movie theater for the last 12 years. But the cool thing about this movie theater is some guy bought the building and was going to turn it into a grocery store. And Matt's mother heard about that. And Matt's mother called her people, who talked to my people, and we talked to some other people, and all kind of people started talking, and people started to sign petition and sign this and sign that, and say, oh, this movie theater ain't going nowhere. So guess what? The owner, the guy now has a nice movie theater. He thought he was going to have a grocery store, but he has a movie theater because they go, no, this movie theater is not going anywhere. And it's all because of Matt. Matt's mother said, this is where my son worked, and he's going to work here. He's not working in the grocery store. And so that the movie theater was saved. All these people, when they come in, and this is not just a little country town. This is in East Cobb, Georgia. It's a well-developed area. But when people walked into the movie theater, they know Matt by name, and Matt knows them by name because he's just that guy. People meet him, and people come to the movie theater just to see Matt, just to interact with Matt. When I'm having a bad day, when sometimes I have individuals that I work with, and they just rough me up, rough me up real bad, hurt my feelings, and I go to Matt, and I go, hey, Matt, how's it going? And he go, I bet you have a bad day today. And I'm like, yeah, you gonna fix that? And he go, I got you, buddy. And Matt currently works at $13 an hour, and Matt is the senior worker in that movie theater right now. All right. So a little bit about the structure of Briggs. Still talking about our philosophy. Because everything we do, if the philosophy is not right, it's gonna be messed up. Briggs and Associate is a flat organization. You got the region director. I'm a region director. Above the region director is the CEO, and then below the region director is a career specialist. And we just had another position, which is a team liaison. And then the most important piece of the puzzle is a person in service, and that's what we look like. And it's a very flat organization, and the reason for that is expert is a word that I don't like, and I'm going to tell you why I don't like the word expert. We got any expert in the room? Where is he going? Where is he going? Hurting my feelings. Anyway, so expert. Thank you. You just saved me. All right. Anyway, so I used to work for the state of Tennessee. TennCare? Ah. So I used to work for the state of Tennessee, and I used to work. My title was eligibility counselor. You know what I'm talking about. And we used to do Families First and TennCare and all 9 yards. We used to do that. Food stamps. I hated my job. I really did. And the thing that I hated most about my job, when I went to work, they promised me that my caseload would be 70. That's what they promised me. And within 2 weeks, my caseload was 130. And there was no way I was going to complete my caseload on any given month. It's just work, just recycling. And I'm sitting at the desk. And if you know me, I do not like sitting at the desk. I don't want to be in anybody building. I want to be out there talking to people. And every Wednesday, they would take us down to the basement of the building, and a guy would come in, and his title was expert. He was the expert of what we do, and he would tell us how to manage our caseloads. And I'm the guy in the room sitting down like, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. And one day, as he was telling me how to manage my caseload, I'm thinking, the only way you can help me right now is tell me, get up from here so I can go back to my desk and do some work to knock some of that out. I raised my hand and I said to him, have you ever been an eligibility counselor? And he goes, a what? I said, we are eligibility counselors down here. Have you ever been an eligibility counselor. He goes, no, but what I can tell you, and I go, no, you can't tell me nothing. Because there's only way you can become an expert in anything is by doing it. If you have never done it, how in the world you're an expert about it? You don't know how to fix what break. You don't know how to work out situation. You got to be in it. And this is why we are a flat organization at Briggs and Associates, because we don't go around and tell people this is how you do customized employment. This is how you do supported employment. We don't do that from an office. I do that by telling you that yesterday before I got in my car and drove up here, I was speaking with individuals, helping them to find jobs in the community. I do this, I claim expert because on Thursday, before I came here, I was on a job site talking to an employer about a challenge that one of my people was having, trying to figure out how we're going to help that person to be successful in the workplace. So I don't like the word expert when you have never done what you claim to be expert in. And everybody at Briggs, even our CEO, has a caseload, and we intend to keep it that way because that's the only way you can understand what's going on in the community and how you can understand what's changing. Because when you, as the pandemic comes and everybody goes in, how do you keep people working from home? A lot of stores are closing their doors. Do you change with that? Or do you still going out there saying, I'm going to put my people in a store that's no longer open? That's very important. So that's a part of our philosophy. We walk alongside people. We celebrate their success. When they're going over their hurdles, we go over those hurdles with them. We are a part of the process just as much as the person that we're supporting. We have been around for a while. We were established in 1988. And right now we maintain, we're in 4 of the 6 regions in Georgia. We maintain an 85% employment rate. In other words, 85% of the people that we support at any given time is working a job 20 hours or more in the community, getting paid above minimum wage. We have a zero exclusion philosophy that if you come to us, we will never turn you away. We figure out how to get you working. And this is pretty much a little bit of what our world look like. You know, employment is for everyone. Everyone. Everyone can work. And I love it because no fixing is necessary. Everyone can work. No fixing is necessary. Often when people with disabilities go to find jobs or want to enter the workforce, we try to figure out what about them we need to fix. People are ready just the way they are. We support them as who they are. And that's what we're about. And when you think about the return, employment is actually, believe this, and I wish everybody would catch on to this, employment is literally the one thing that is funded by the government that gives a return. No other program is the only program that gives a return on the investment. Monetary investment return. When you fund a person to work, that person is on the way to not needing that funding anymore because that person is going to get paid. So if they're getting paid and they were receiving financial benefit, then the financial benefit that they need from the state or from the federal government becomes less and less and less until they get to that point. And I have people, I think about Joseph. When I met Joseph, Joseph was working at Coles. Joseph was a early morning unloader. And I found out that Joseph had, he has a degree, but his learning style was just different from everyone else. And people weren't taking the time to find the right match. So they just got him the easiest job that they could get him. Now Joseph is working as an interior designer because that's what his degree is. And Joseph is making $52,000 a year. Now what happened with that? Joseph dropped his benefit, or his benefits dropped him. Joseph has his own medical insurance from his job. Joseph has his house. Joseph is living a full life because he works. And that's where I say customized employment is economically feasible. Joshua, when the pandemic struck, Joshua, let me go back to the other slide. I wanna because there's a reason why Joshua is in this. You get as many chances as you need. I want to mention that. People ask, so how many jobs do we get people before we stop working with them? The answer is you get as many chances as you need. One of my staff up in Rome, Georgia, came to me and she said, I don't know what to do with Marcia. I don't know what to do with Marcia. This is the fifth job I got her. And she lost it. She only worked 6 months on this job and she lost it already. What am I going to do with her? Do I just keep giving her chances? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, okay, she lasts 5 jobs, 6 jobs. Yeah, I get it. What do I tell my staff in her frustration? And I got the bright idea. I looked at her and I go, how many chances do you want me to give you when you mess up? 5? 6? Because if you want 5 chances, then let's give Marcia 5 chances. If you want your choice and your chances to be unlimited, well, let's make Marcia's chances be unlimited also. You get as many chances as you get. Because the thing is, very few of us are in the same job that we started. Now, there are some people who started a job when they were 15 and they're still working that job. My hat's off to you if you're that person. But I know that before I got to Briggs, I passed through some jobs. Some of them I was pretty good at. Some of them, they don't even want to look at me right now if I walk by the building. And even jobs that the state job, I was pretty good at my state job. But I was a pain to my manager. I was late every day because I didn't want to be there. I took longer lunches than I really needed to take. I just didn't want to be in the building. When I was at my desk, I was working, doing a fine job. My customers, my consumers, they loved me. But my supervisor that had to deal with me, oh, I was a pain to her. So this is where we go, as many chances as you get. This is why. Okay, Joshua just lost his job. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? Because I want you to understand that this is real. Joshua just lost his job. The reason Joshua lost his job is he ate some candy on the sales floor that he didn't pay for. And the employer was quick to call corporate to ask what to do. And corporate said, well, we got to terminate him. As we look back, the question becomes, do we label Joshua a thief and say we cannot put him in a job? Do we say that Joshua cannot work in a store where there are candies? Or we find out why Joshua took the candy? So here's what happened. Joshua has a good mother, very good mother. Joshua's mother watches his weight. Joshua's mother wants him to eat right. So he eat vegetables and he just soy milk and no sugar. And you see people eating ice cream and candy, and he eats cake with dates and stuff like that. He's just healthy. But if you know that healthy people really envy people who are not healthy. People who don't eat ice cream, when they see you eating your ice cream, they just look and go, I wish I could have some of that. Somebody know what I'm talking about. So Joshua is working, and Joshua saw the candy, and all his life Joshua wanted some candy, and he could not resist the urge. He just ate some candy. So now we instead of labeling Joshua a thief or say he cannot work in this environment, we go to mom and we go, look, you're doing a good job with Joshua, but this is also the adverse effect from that. What can we do to facilitate that? And mom go, you know what? Probably if he does a good job, I could get him a treat. I could take him out to, I don't even like the word treat though. I want you to know that. But I could take him out and we could have a cake and ice cream evening or something like that. And Joshua goes, good idea. So my guess is the next time Joshua gets a job and he sees a candy, he's not just going to just take that candy. He's going to be thinking about his cake and ice cream, time with his mother, and we're going to be good with that. So this was a learning process for us and Joshua. He lost his job, but we don't throw him to the curb. He gets as many chances as he needs. At the end of the day, as we talk about supported employment, customized employment, the question is, what is this about? And I want you to think about it. What is all this about? Is this about getting somebody a little job where they just go to get out the house? Or is it about building independence? What is it about? When I came to Briggs and Associates, I asked Jennifer, why are we a for-profit and not a non-profit organization? I asked her that because I've always believed that services like ours should be non-profit. I've always believed that. And Jennifer said, I toyed with it. She said, I could get lots of donation if I become a nonprofit tomorrow morning. And as I go out in the community and I'm doing customized employment and supported employment, people ask me the question, how can we donate to your organization? Because we love what you do. And I have the right answer, the best answer for them, because I got it from Jennifer when I asked her, why are we a nonprofit, a for-profit organization? She said, I didn't want community members to write me a check and think that they have done their part. And when she said that, I go, wow. I never thought about it. Because a lot of times people go, okay, I'll write you a check and I donate to you. But when people ask me, how can I donate? I said, I have a person that I think would do well here. How about we meet that person and talk with him, talk with her, and see if this is a right fit, give them a job, pay pay them and let them have a life of independence, a full life, a rich life. And that's what it's all about. It's about building people's dreams in their community. It's about breaking down barriers, eroding stereotypes. It's about possibilities. It's about abilities. It's about real people in a real job making real money. That's what it's about. Austin. Anybody know Austin? Okay, good. Austin, how are we doing on time? Okay. Austin, I met Austin 4 years ago. And Austin, when I met Austin, Austin's mother said, there are 2 jobs that Austin can work, 2. He can work Kroger's, but Kroger's is too far from the house. He has a cousin who manages Kroger, and that cousin will look out for him if he gets a job at Kroger. But because it's too far, we could try McDonald's. You know, Austin, he loved to wipe tables. He wiped tables for us after dinner. So he could work at McDonald's. And all this time, Austin is sitting at the table, and Austin is not saying anything to me. He's just smiling. And I'm thinking that I hear what Mom said. Mom said that Austin can work at McDonald's and Kroger's, but I don't know what Austin said. And Austin is not saying anything, and I cannot put Austin in a job until I get to know Austin, right? So I said to Mom, how about I get to know Austin a little bit? And Austin said, and please, I'm quoting Austin now. I want you to, please do not hold this against me. I'm quoting Austin, okay? The only thing Austin said to me was, go Dogs! I said, I'm quoting Austin. I would have said Roll Tide, okay? He go Dogs! And I'm like, he got some little, he got something to him. And I go, I'm not sure Austin should be wiping tables. I want to get to know him a little bit better. And Mom said, his friend work at McDonald's, and his friend doing good. I think Austin would do good there. And I said, but don't argue with parents, okay? I still haven't learned that. I said, but I think and she goes, with all due respect, just go and do your job. And when she said that, I'm like, yes, ma'am. I will do my job. And so I went and I got Austin, and I go, Austin, we're going to do some job development. And my first stop was, guess where? McDonald's. Because I was told to do my job. But I wasn't told how to do my job, and I get to do my job the way I want to do my job. So I said, good morning, my name is Steve, and I'm with Briggs and Associates, and we help people with disabilities to find jobs in the community. Austin is looking for a job. Austin has never worked before. His mother thinks that he would make a good a table wiper. He would never be good for your fries or anything, because that might be a safety concern. And I gave them everything. I go, but if there's anything you can find in the lobby, Austin probably would be good at that. And they looked at me and they go, okay, we like what you're doing. Very good thing you're doing in the community, but we don't have anything right now. And I go, yeah. And so I went back and I told Mom, I said, Mom, we went to McDonald's, and McDonald's, they're not hiring. They don't have a job for Austin. And Mom said, well, have you tried Burger King? So I went to Burger King, and I said the same exact thing I said at McDonald's. And guess what? They said the same exact thing to me. And I said, I went to Burger King, and they're not hiring. And mom looked at me, and I could read her mind. Has anyone ever looked at you and you just read their mind? You know that they're not thinking good thoughts about you. They are saying that you suck at what you do. Why are you even standing here? Is that what you're thinking about me? She looking at me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So she looked at me and she goes, and she was walking from the living room into the kitchen, and she goes, all right, just do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, I love when people are frustrated with me. And I go, okay, Austin, let's go do some job development. And all of a sudden, I turn into a whole different guy. I went to a place called J.C. Penney's, and I went to J.C. Penney's, and I said, I would like to talk with the manager here. And they said, okay, what you want to talk about? And I go, employment, but not about myself. I have this very able young man here who absolutely loves J.C. Penney's, and I think that he would be a great addition to your company. Can we sit down and talk? And we sat down and we talked. And Austin smiled every time I say something, and they said, you know what, let's try him. It was a Christmas season, and they gave him a job, and he was folding stuff and stocking things, and he was doing great at it. And I'm still looking at Austin, and I'm like, I'm getting to know him, and he's doing this. It shows that Austin was a guy, he's going to do anything you ask him to do. But that does not necessarily mean that's all he can do and that's where he needs to be. And I'm watching Austin, and I watch who he interacted with at J.C. Penney's. And the thing about it, when he see the guys, he was like, hey, what's up? And he's not saying a lot of words, but he's doing all of that. And I'm like, And then Austin saw a truck one day in the parking lot. And Austin goes, mine. It was a red truck, and I remember there was a red truck in his driveway, and Austin is saying that's a truck like his truck, but it really wasn't his truck. It was his dad's truck. And then Austin, one day we were at Home Depot, and Austin walked up to the riding lawnmowers, and he was just fascinated with that thing, and he's just looking, and I'm like, oh, something going on here. And then I put Go Dogs and Guys and Lawnmower and trucks together, and I go, Austin would do well at Home Depot. And so I went to Home Depot, and I go, because by this time the season was over and he wasn't working at J.C. Penney's anymore. And I went to Home Depot, and I said to the manager, I have a gentleman that would do well here. And the manager said, well, bring him. Let me interview him. And I go, that's a bad idea. You don't want to interview him. And he looked at me all strange, like, you just told me he would do well here, and now you're telling me that I shouldn't interview him? I go, no. You really should meet him, but you shouldn't interview him. And he go, I don't get it. I go, you see, if Austin comes here and you ask him questions, he's not going to answer you. Remember I said I hate interviews? I don't like interviews. I goes, he's not going to answer you. The managers go, whatever, just bring him, let me meet him. And so he brought Austin, and so we sat in the room, and he said to Austin, how are you doing? And Austin goes, and I go, yeah, it's going great. Y'all think it's not going great, but it's going real good. And he goes, Austin, what do you see yourself doing here? And Austin goes, and I'm like, yeah, this is going really good. And then Austin messed up in one area, and one area only. He goes, Austin, really, why do you want to work here? And Austin said, Kroger's. And I go, no, you can't say that. And then the manager goes, okay, Austin, can you sit out there and let me talk to your job coach for a couple of minutes? And as Austin walked out the room, I never gave the man a chance to say anything. I go, that went great, didn't it? And he goes, he didn't say a word. And I go, I know. He didn't say a word. It went great. He's looking at me like, what's wrong with him? And I'm thinking, what's wrong with him? Because he don't know what's going to hit him now. I go, didn't I tell you that Austin is not going to speak to you in the interview? He said, yes, you told me that. I said, did he speak to you? He go, no. I go, did I know what I'm talking about? And he said, I guess you did. I said, I also told you that he would make a great employee here. Now, if I knew what I was talking about when I said he was not going to talk to you in the interview, could I just know what I'm talking about when I tell you that he's going to be a great employee here? And you go, I never thought about it like that, but if you put it that way, I guess that might mean something. And he go, he seemed like a nice guy. I guess I could give him a chance. I could try him. And so he hired Austin to work in the garden department. Austin started out watering plants, and everybody just absolutely loved Austin. And he make friends at work. This is one of Austin's best friends. Both of them, they love the Bulldogs. I don't know why they love the Bulldogs, but they're friends. And Austin is just a part of his workplace. And his mom, she goes to the store, and she goes, I just know he could do that. No, he could do that. No, he could do. Look at my Austin. He's just doing such a great job. And I'm like, what is she talking about? But the good thing is, Austin is just having a great time at his job. And all of this happened with a thing that we call customized employment. Customized employment, what it is, it's a different approach. It's a different approach to what people have been trying. And this is what it looks like. I want you to catch this. When life throws you lemon, what do? I know you were going to say that. And you're wrong. You're wrong. Try this. When life throws you lemon, make apple juice. That would even be better, right? Yeah. I like that. I like you. When life throws you lemon, make apple juice, and then you watch the rest of the world trying to figure out how you did it. And that's what customized employment is about. We have individuals that people say they can't work. We say, okay, we're going to give them jobs better than the ones that you are working with better pay, and watch you try to figure out how we did it. We did it with customized employment. I'm going to go into customized employment, and I'm going to start by telling you about my friend, DJ. DJ works at a store in a place called Cartersville. Big lots. His job was to do go-backs. If you ever apply for a job and they tell you that your job is to do go-backs, run. Don't take it. DJ would go to the store, and there would be tons of things that customers don't want, and his job was to take them back to where they go in the store. And DJ was having a hard time doing that job. And I normally walk and go on my job site. Every single person that's on a caseload on my team that I manage at Briggs, I know every single person. Right now, I manage I think it's 160 people, and I know every single one of them. I know where they work. I've been to every one of the jobs because that's just what we do. And I went to DJ's job, and DJ was just having a hard time. And I tried helping him, and I started having a hard time. I didn't know what I was doing. But the thing that really hit me about DJ's job is that when I got to DJ's job, I asked for him. I asked for DJ. They say, who is DJ? I asked for Donald because Donald is his name. So I said, maybe he told them his name. He goes by DJ because he's a Donald Jr. So I go, DJ here. They go, who is DJ? I go, Donald. They go, who is Donald? And I'm like, I don't get this. He works here. He does go backs. They're looking at me like, what are you talking about? I go, the guy, he has a job coach. And they go, oh, the special needs guy. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I was like, what? I'm like, this special need. I'm like, he has a name. And I know that when he applied for the job, he never says that he's a special needs guy. I know that he has never introduced himself as the special needs guy. How in the world do we ignore the name that he told us and call him the special needs guy? What's going on here? So I go, there got to be some training taking place here. And we try. When I see things like that, I'm in that job site every day because I want to make sure that this person has a name. And I realized that they had no intention of learning DJ's name. None whatsoever. And I go, we can't stay here. We cannot have someone working someplace where the employer and co-workers refuse to know his name. What, so we can say we got you a job? I couldn't sleep when I go home. We're not just checking boxes here. That's not what we do. We promise him that we would get him a job that he would enjoy, that he would be included in the workplace, that he can work towards independence, and that's what he's going to get and nothing less. So I said, we're going to start doing job development for DJ. And we did job development for DJ, and we went to Ingalls. And Ingalls said, we need somebody to manage our popcorn making. I go, when you say manage, what do you mean? And they go, we need somebody who's fully responsible for making the popcorn, making sure that it's out there on the floor, making sure that the right price is on it, making sure that the equipment are in good working condition. Do you think he can do that? I said, we can train him to do that. And now DJ works at Ingalls, and he is in charge of that whole area. He makes the popcorn, he put them on the floor. He knows when he comes in every morning and he checks and he's like, okay, we need so much bags and stuff like that. And sometimes he doesn't get his numbers all right, but that's okay because that's what training is all about, because we're training DJ and we're training the employer to understand that they need to work with DJ to get him to where he needs to be. But the thing is, when you go to DJ job, he's hard at work and he has a smile on his face and they know his name. But the way we got to this job is through the process of customization. When DJ got his first job at Big Lots, and he came to us with his job at Big Lots, somebody placed him in that job because they just want to get a check mark, a job off their list. When DJ came to us, we want to know DJ, and we want to make sure that DJ is working at a place where he can be successful and he can be beneficial to the employer, and everybody is gaining from this experience. And when he goes home, mom is not all upset because they're not nice to him at work. So everybody is happy, and I can go home and have a clear conscience also. So, and that's what it is. But we got to know DJ first. You see, the task is not to find a dream job in customizing. The task is to find the best possible condition for employment, the best possible condition for success. And let me break this down. You can have a dream job. Your dream job could be to fly planes. And you get a job flying planes, but your manager is the most terrible person that has ever walked the face of the earth. You have your dream job, but there's no condition for success in that employment because you're going to work miserable. So when we do customizing, we want to make sure that the skills are there and the support people are there. Everything is there. The person wants to return to work the next day. That's what we talk about when we talk about customized employment. First thing for us to know in customized employment is that people take to work what they cannot change about themselves. And by that I mean, have you ever worked with somebody, she's just loud. Just loud. Good morning. Hey, girl, yeah. And it's like you try your best to tone down, but it's just who that person is. Have you ever worked with someone who's just messy? Their desk is just always messy, and it's almost no matter what you do. It's like people take to work what they cannot change about themselves. And this is Mark. Mark takes to work what he cannot change about himself. So as we're customizing a job for Mark, we know that. We said to the employer, look, Mark has a zero filter. Mark is going to, if it enters here, quickly it's coming down through here. And it happened real fast. I went to Mark's job once, and Mark can't call his name because he's probably from Alabama. But his manager, we're going to call his manager John. And Mark, I said, Mark, how you doing? How things going today? Bad question. And I'm learning with Mark that you gotta think about what you're gonna ask Mark. And Mark said, I don't know. John got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Now, I want you to understand that John is the GM, and Mark assembles bike. And Mark is assembling bike right here, and right behind that door is John's office. And Mark said, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's going through a divorce, so his wife kicked him in the doghouse, so he come to work and he's taking it out on people here. He said, and I'm like, Mark, he go, yes, it's true. Becky told me. And I'm like, I'm standing like, okay, how do I fix this? Because I'm digging, and he's like, yeah. I don't. He should not cheated on her. I'm starting to pray that the earth would open and swallow both Mark and I, but the only thing that was opening was John's door. And John coming out, and I'm getting red, and Mark is just continuing to talk, and I'm looking who is Becky because she could just be standing right there. And John came out, and John smiled. And I don't know if I should smile yet. And he put his hand on my shoulder because he saw that I was going into crisis. And he said, that Mark, eh? And I go, yeah, that Mark. He said, that's just Mark. And when he said that, I remember we take to work what we cannot change about ourselves. And I remember the conversation that we had with the manager, Tony, who was way before John. And we said, Mark has no filter. The way that Mark came to us, Mark was in the community just roaming, and Mark lived pretty close to downtown Powder Springs, where the courthouse is. And Mark would walk into the court while court is in session. I'm not making this up. And Mark would hear something that he does not like. And Mark would raise his hand, and Mark would say, I object. No. This guy cannot. This guy's going to end up in jail somewhere. You all better do something with him. And we explained that to Tony, the manager who hired Mark. And Tony left, and Darrell became the manager. And Tony handed down to Darrell what we told Tony. And Darrell handed down to John what we told John. And everybody know that Mark is a great guy, but he has some things that he cannot change about himself, and he brought those things to work with him, and all we can do is support that. And John bought into that, and he said, that's just Mark. And that's where it would be great if all employers, even when they're talking about me, and trust me, I know that my employer, she has things where she go, that's just Stephen. That's just Stephen. Doesn't like paperwork, but that's just Stephen. And so because we customized the position for Mark employer understands him, and even when he's talking some real bad things about the employer could set that to the side and say, I'm here to support Mark. Somebody had a grand idea. Now, if you notice, Mark has been on this job for 15 years. That's Mark with hair. This is Mark today. When Mark started working, his job was to assemble a bike. Somebody had a grand idea that they were going to outsource the assembling work in Walmart. Don't know why. And so Mark was left to do something else. And somebody said, okay, well, he can do safety sweep. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. And they go, that's all we got. I said, he has 15 years here. He has been here before you. So we're going to have to work something out. But one thing I tell you is that you don't want Mark on your floor pushing anybody's broom, because Mark is going to see something and he's going to comment about it. And so they put Mark out there on the floor. And within about 2 hours, something happened, and they pulled him back in. I said, I told you. Why you are calling me here? So now, Mark is a guy, he does the bales. He does pricing things. He does at least about 5 tasks in the back of the house, and he's not stuck with a broom in his hand. A lot of time we like to put a broom in the hand of people with disability because we don't want to do the hard work to get to know them and know what else they can do. So Mark don't have a broom in his hand, and I'm happy about that. See, customized employment, like I said, is not looking for the dream job. It is not vocational evaluation and testing. Customized employment does not focus on quick placement. Customized employment is not competitive. Now I'm going to break those down. Customized employment, like I talk about the dream job, we're looking for a job for people to be successful. It's got to work for the person. It's got to be where the person wants to be. Got to be where the person has the right support. And it's got to be a job that the person can do. And customizing, we find employers' needs and we match it with the people's skill. And I'm going to talk about some more about that as we go. We are in a society when it comes to people with disabilities, we fill out forms to find out what they cannot do as opposed to what they can do. Now, how many of us, when we go to sell ourselves in the interview, we start by saying, I cannot do this, and I cannot do this, and I cannot do that, and I cannot do that. None of us do that, right? So if we don't do that for ourselves, what make we think if it's an effective strategy for people with disabilities? When you start with what you cannot do, you're just eliminating yourself or eliminating the person from getting employed. So customized employment, we're not evaluating to find out what people cannot do. We're actually and when we talk about discovery, you'll hear more of that at that. But what we're doing in customized employment, we are finding people's superpower that they can use to make the world a better place. And this is why it's not a quick placement. A lot of times when we search for jobs, a lot of people, it's all about the person who's looking for the job. Well, if I don't find a job today, I feel bad. I want to find a job. I want to feel like I'm doing something. Well, if you find a job that the person is not happy in, did you really do anything? Did you really help the person? No. So customized employment has a process of getting to know the person, getting to know what's out there, working with employers to negotiate so that when the person gets into the workplace, there are no surprises for that person or for the employer. Everything should fit almost like a glove and work smooth. Yes, there are going to be some challenges that you still will have to work through, but you want to do the work to make sure the person is in the right place. That's what customizing is all about. It's like a custom-made suit, right? When you have a custom-made suit, they take your measurement. They do that. They're making that suit for you, not just any suit you put on and hope that you fit into it. That's what customizing is. You're customizing the job for the person to fit into that. And it's not competitive, and it is competitive. It gets tricky when I say it's not competitive. And not competitive means customized employment is not a job task that is advertised, a job description that is advertised out there. It's a job where you go in and you identify the needs of the employer and match it with the skill of the person that you're working with. And that's what customized employment is. But on the other hand, the competitive side of it is real work that the employer need to get done. It's not that, okay, I want a charity job over here. Customized employment is a real job that the employer has. I mean, it's a need. They're buried with this. They need somebody to do it. And you go, we have the right skill for that. So that's what it is. Customized employment is, like I said, is based on interest negotiation between the job seeker and the employer. It is person-centered. It is one person at a time. Customized employment is the act of seeking out the best possible employment condition. And when I say it is one person at a time, I want us to understand a lot of times people do job development, and what they're doing, they're throwing out a net. And then they go, okay, there are 5 places hiring, and I got 5 people on my caseload, so let's just plug them into that. When I go out for customized employment, I am working with Betty. And if I'm working with Betty, and I'm going out to do customized employment for Betty, I'm not thinking about Jenny, and I'm not thinking about Darrell. I'm just thinking about Betty, and everything that I'm doing in that moment I'm not going, okay, I'm going to get a job, and whoever it fits is fit. I am working for that person, and that's what customized employment is. We stay focused on one person and get the job done for that person, one person at a time. We're very focused, person-centered. And like I said, I cannot say this more than too often, that it is seeking the best condition for employment. So, I talked to you about a philosophy. I talked to you about Briggs' philosophy. You have to develop your philosophy as you do your customized employment. How do you see people? When you look at the person, do you go, this person This person can do this, but this person cannot do that. Or this person can't do anything. Or do you ask questions that lead you nowhere? Questions like, can this person work? We don't ask that question about people. Can this person work? Because if you ask, can this person work, you leave the possibility that the person can or cannot work. So, and you don't want to have a philosophy that in the back of your mind, you're saying the person cannot work. And I tell you why. If in the back of your mind, the person maybe can work or cannot work, if something happens and you cannot find the job, you have something to fall back to and put it on the person. Well, the reason why I haven't gotten a job, the reason why the person cannot keep the job, it has to do with the person and has nothing to do with the support. I've done everything that I can, and he just cannot work. She just cannot work. So the question that we ask is, what will it take for this person to work and have a successful job? Because when I ask the question, what will it take, I conclude that this person can work. I just don't have all the answers. I don't have all the pieces to help this person to work, but I know that this person can work. So when I go out there and I cannot find the job, I'm still asking the question, what will it take? Because it is not on the person, it is on me. If the person gets a job and the person was not successful in that job, the question still is, what will it take for this person to be successful? Because it's not because the person cannot work. Because I'm not asking if the person can work. I already conclude that if the person has the desire, they have the ability to be successful in the workplace, but what will it take? So now we are in a process to discover what will it take. And if we do that, we end up with a gentleman like this gentleman. My staff, Kaylee, and Kaylee is less than a year with Briggs and Associates, but she's just awesome. And this just proves to me that you have the right training, you can do anything. This is Randy. When Randy came to us, and my team liaison did the intake and said, we have Randy. And I said, yes, give him to Kaylee. And he go, I don't know. I think Randy is going to really discourage Kaylee because it's going to be a hard sell. I'm like, are we not confident in the training that we give Kaylee? I trained her. I know she can do the job. And he go, but you don't understand, Stephen. You haven't met Randy. And I go, you're right. I haven't met Randy, but I know he can work because he came to us. She said, Randy uses a wheelchair. I go, all right. She said, Randy can move his arms, but he cannot move his fingers. So I'm not sure what we can get for him. I said, Randy's going to lead us into the job for him. Just let's talk with Randy. Get to know Randy. So we gave Randy to Kaylee, my newest staff, and Kaylee handled that like a rock star. After spending some time with Randy, about a month, getting to know Randy, know what makes him tick, finding out his superpower, Randy's a great communicator. Still can't use his fingers, still can't walk. Randy told Kaylee a story about him going online. And he found a date. Catch this. And this is how you get to know people. You cannot use your fingers. When I'm going online, I'm using my fingers, right? So, how did you get online to find yourself a date? Well, I use a Skylar, and I have somebody band it onto my arms, and I use that to touch my keys. Okay, if we're using that to go online, hint, you can use that in the workplace. So that's what our discovery is looking like. We are talking to you about your personal life, but we're also using that information to help you to find a job. And Randy said, I got a date. And when I got to the restaurant, she was surprised. She did not know that I used a wheelchair. However, she was fine. They said, come, let's eat. When I got to, when the food was served, she said to me, why aren't you eating? And I said to her, you got to feed me. Not making this thing up. And she said, why? He said, I can't use my fingers. I can't hold a fork. And the young lady fed him in the restaurant. I don't know that I could convince my first date to feed me in a restaurant, but that guy did it. So he must have one of the best personality, the best communication, the best convincing skills in the world. So we know that with the right equipment, he can get online. We know that he can convince people to do what they would not otherwise do. And we go, we're guarded. We're well tooled to find him a job. And so we found him, not we, but Kaylee found him a job at Lowe's. And I was talking to him the other day. So let him tell his own story.
So do you like this job, Randy?
I love this job. All I do is ride around and help customers
Can we turn that up a
find
little?
what they need. If I can't find it, I
So do you like this job, Randy?
I love this job. All I do is ride around and help customers find what they need. If I can't find it, I get on my Android and radio another associate that can assist me. I work 3 days a week, 5-hour shifts off every other weekend, and they work with me, and they're ecstatic to have me on board here,
What's your favorite thing about the job?
helping customers, riding around talking to people, getting to meet different people, and seeing what projects they're into, and seeing if I can help them with their projects.
That is awesome, Randy. That is very awesome. Where did you work before this job?
I worked at Walmart.
Now, I'm going to stop it right there. And the reason why I stop it there, he says some things that are not very flattering about Walmart in this video. And I don't want to tear Walmart down, okay? Now, if you look right there, that's for his drink right there. If you notice, there's that blue thing on his hand when he starts talking.
So do you like this job, Randy?
I love this job.
That's where Skylis is banned to his hand because he helps to see when customers' orders are in. He looks up things when a customer says, where do you find this and what's the price for that? He does all that. And he just does that. He has a tablet there, yes. And it's just amazing the job that he has. And then people in the community who knows Randy, who knew him before he's working at Lowe's, they see him and they goes, how in the world did you guys do this? If a guy tells you that his finger doesn't work, you're supposed to stop thinking about things that you would normally do with your fingers. But the question that we ask is, if you cannot do it with your fingers, what else can you do it with? Can you accomplish the same thing not using your fingers? And as we're talking to him, he's telling us what he did, not using his fingers, that other people use their fingers to do, and we go, okay, what does this look like when you're exploring employment? And by the way, when I went on that job site, I'm always missing people's stuff when I go on the job site. In that when I was talking to him there, he said to me that he works 3 days a week, 5 hours. And I go, is that all you want to work? He said, that's what they offered me. How many of us know we don't have to take what was offered to us? You can ask for more, right? So I go, would you like to work another day? He said, yes, I would love to work another day. So we went to the manager and we go, can Randy work another day? He said, sure, why not? We need it now. So he's now working 20 hours a week. I think he makes $14 an hour, riding around in his wheelchair, talking to customers, because the guy can talk to people, because he tells a girl that he just met to feed him in a restaurant, and he's looking up stuff on computers just like everybody else. He has a password that he logs into the system and all of that, and he's having a pretty normal life because he's a normal guy. He just has unique abilities. And that's what customizing a job look like. Any question as we go on?
What was the one that bought the adaptive equipment, or was it VR?
VR.
Okay.
Yeah, very good question. And yes. He for the power chair. He just got to not. Yeah. He does everything. Yeah. All right. I love good ideas.
So that he could be eye level?
Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. Very good. Love that. So that's what that looks like. So two key components when we talk about customized employment. We need the job seeker strength, and we need the employer's needs. That's all we need when we go for customized employment. What can the person do? What does the employer need for the person to do? That's what it boils down to. A lot of times we don't get jobs because we don't take time to know our people. And we go to employers and we go, hey, this person, remember Austin? I knew Austin to the point where I could sell him to the employer by saying to the employer, he's not going to talk to you. And I had a plan how I was going to use that. Because my point to the employer is, I know Austin. I know what he can do, and I know what he cannot do. I'm going to tell you up front what he cannot do, and I'm going to tell you up front what he can do. If I'm right about what he cannot do, could I be right about what he can do? But it's all about knowing the person. You got to know the person inside out in order to positively sell that person. And so we have two components that we use. We use discovery and we use systematic instruction. Anybody have the time? Okay, all right. So, we have time for this. Systematic instruction. Yeah. You look bored. What's your name? Daphne. She is a social worker. Come here. Yeah. Joanne, are you a social worker too? No. Good. But I know. So, it's a shirt. It's a t-shirt. Can you do me a favor and teach Dawn how to fold that t-shirt? And you can use the table. So you're gonna need the mic. You don't need to be touching the shirt.
Okay.
Just give her instructions.
Just tell me.
Fold the t-shirt however you want to fold it. Have you folded a shirt before? Show me your method. She's doing a great job. Do y'all want me to describe how she's folding the t-shirt? Because I asked her if she knew how. She already knows how to fold a t-shirt, right? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? So what I did was, I got to get louder. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
She's trying to be pretty.
What I started with, because he gave me the task of asking her to fold a shirt, I asked her, have you folded a shirt before? And she said, yes, I've already folded a shirt. I said, can you show me how you folded the t-shirt? And this is our product.
Okay, very good, very good, very good. Was easy, right? Very easy. All right, don't go anywhere. Joan, this is your very first job. You have never folded a t-shirt in your life. In fact, you have never folded anything. So now we're gonna
Do it again.
teach you to fold a shirt. And now you're gonna give her instructions on how to fold it.
Lay the shirt out. Take that arm. Is that your right arm? Is that-
Hold on.
No.
Now, I want you to do exactly what she tells you to do. Don't interpret anything, okay?
Okay. Okay. So take the right arm and fold it inside. Take the left arm, fold it inside. Okay. Take the bottom of the shirt.
Can you speak up so that they
Take
can
the
hear?
bottom of the shirt and fold it halfway up. Take the top of the shirt and fold it halfway down. Take the edge of this and fold it that way. And you folded your first t-shirt.
Good instructions. Very good
It's
instructions.
a terrible fold, but I had to come up with it on the fly.
Very good instructions. But you notice that the first fold looks different from the second fold.
Yes.
What was the difference? The instructions that was given, right? Now we have a person who knows how to fold the shirt with the first instruction. And the second instruction is, I'm only using the instructions that you give me. All right, we're going to try this with two other people.
Thank God.
All right.
Should I pick my person? I want to pick my person.
You want to pick your person?
I
Okay.
want to pick my person. I want to pick you.
Okay.
I picked you. You're in a PhD
No, I'm going
program.
to get two other people, you know. I'm getting two other people. Okay. So, but if she picks you, come on. What's your name? Janice. Hey. Who's Ashley? Okay, Ashley, come on up here. Ashley gonna fold it however she wants to fold it, right? Now, Who wants to be the trainer? You want to be the trainer? Okay, what we're gonna do? Do you mind if we train and then we flip? All right. So you're gonna be the trainer first, okay, Ashley? All right. I'm sorry. Where you want it? You got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Fold, fold it up. Like, take the first sleeve and yes. Yes. And fold it in. Like that. And take the second sleeve and do the same thing. Okay, and take the bottom part of the shirt and do the same thing. Like that. And that's it, right?
Do you think it's good enough, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Ashley think it's good enough. Uh, Do you want to try being the one who folds the shirt now, Ashley?
Okay.
All right. So now I'm going to take your mic. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the mic. Is that okay?
Yes.
Remind your name again. I'm sorry.
Janice.
Janice.
All right, Ashley. Are you want to fold it on the table or you want to fold it in your lap? Okay. All right, Ashley. I want you to fold it in half. I want you to take the left sleeve and fold it all the way over to the right sleeve. Can I help?
You asked me?
Yes.
Who? Hold on. Who would you ask that question?
See this sleeve right here, Ashley? I want you to fold it over to that one.
Okay.
Like that. All right? And then I want you to fold the bottom all the way up to the top. It doesn't matter if you start at the bottom or you start at the top. I want you to fold it in half again.
Okay.
So let that one down. Now come to the bottom and fold that all the way up.
Okay. Can you help me?
Yep. Sure can. And then once you get it done like that, I want you to fold it in half again.
Okay.
Like, keep going, keep going, keep going. All the way in half. Like that, Ashley.
Okay.
So once we're done, you got a shirt folded.
Very good job. Very good job. Very good. Very good. Very good. What have you noticed? Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Anybody notice anything else? Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever folded a shirt before? Have you ever thought that deep about folding a shirt before? Exactly. You see, the thing is, when we do task, we just do it. We get up and we go, I'm I'm sorry.
It's interesting, but I always think of everything I do in steps, because that's the way I was taught. So that's the way I've learned, and I'm able to portray that to other people. So I'm not quite grasping what the lesson is here.
All right. I'm glad you said what you said. I'm glad you said what you said. Stay with me, ride with me. Because you're my ride and die right now. Okay? Okay. So here is this. Yes. In the real world, of course, yeah. And if you notice how Daphne started out with John, is that she asks, "Have you ever folded a shirt before?" So the training that John would need is different from what Ashley would have needed, but so in one case we would need some practicing, in another case we wouldn't need some practicing. But there are a couple of things I want us to look at. The way we do tasks, most of us, we get up and we go, "Oh, I'm going to do the laundry." And we don't think step by step doing the laundry. We just do the laundry. Now, not everybody learned by that. And because you just do the laundry, when it comes to teaching somebody to do the laundry, you go, "My goodness, I'm good at doing the laundry. I'm not sure I'm good at teaching the laundry. What if they don't understand what I'm saying?" Now, when we get to Jenny, Jenny makes a very good point here, because Jenny said, "The way that I do stuff is that I was taught step by step." I challenge you that Jenny might be the best teacher in this room because of how she learns. When Jenny learns something, Jenny can teach you it because she learned it step by step and she knows every single step. I am a very good cook. I mean, I can cook really, really, really good. But when somebody say, "Give me your recipe," I'm like, "My what?" I put a little this and a little that, and how much of it? I don't know. Some. That's what I put. I put some. I put some water in the pot. I put some oil. I put some seasoning. How much? I said some. That's what I put. But if you go to Jenny, Jenny would say 2 teaspoons, half a cup. And that's a step. That's a step, because you taste it. Does it need some more? And that's what systematic instruction is about. Systematic instruction is going to, one, no two people will always do the same thing the same way. Some of us, anybody know how to iron? Do we say iron or press in Alabama? Okay, where I'm from, we say press. I press my shirt. You all iron your shirt, right? I press mine. When you press a shirt, I like your hat. What's your name? Melvin. When you press your shirt, you iron your shirt. When you iron your shirt, where do you start? Do you start with the sleeve or with the collar or with the body? The collar. Is he right or is he wrong? And who start with the sleeves? Any sleeve people here? No? Oh, Lord. I start with my sleeves. Anybody start with the body? Start with the body. So we got some body people. We got a lot of collar people, and we got a sleeve person here. So so most of us press a shirt differently. So I am the manager of J.C. Penney, and I'm going to teach you, and I want you to do it the J.C. Penney's way. We're going to have to start with the sleeve. But if you're Coles, and we're going to do it the Coles way, we're going to start with the collar. And if we are Belks, every company has their own way of doing things. And this is why it is important to be able to teach step by step. Because watch this. If I go to work, let's say I'm working and you are my job coach and you're training me, but something happened, you won the lottery and you decide that you're not coming back to work. And so Sonia becomes my new job coach. And Sonia decided that, okay, I'm going to teach you to fold. But Sonia started to teach me the way she folds, but you were teaching me the way you fold. I'm 2 weeks in my job, and now I got a new job coach, and I have no idea how to do my job, and I was doing good 2 weeks ago. Sonia, she gets married, and she moves to Hawaii. And Melvin come as my new job coach. And now I'm a month and a half on my job. But Melvin is going to show me a different way. So all of that creates confusion. Now, with systematic instruction, we narrow in and we do it the way the employer wants us to do it, and we get all of those steps in place. So every trainer is going to use the same instruction. Sonia is going to forget the way Mama do it. You're going to forget the way our Uncle John does it. And you're going to forget the way how your Sister Betty does it. And we are going to do it the way how Coles or Belks or J.C. Penney does it, and use those systematic instruction, because everything is taught in a system, and that's what systematic instruction is all about. Make sense? Say yes. Okay, good. So the whole thing is about systematic instruction is that everyone can learn. Every person can learn. There are no bad learners. No inadequate learners. Only inadequate teachers. My wife is an educator. She does not like when I say this. Her sister is an educator. And I would listen to my wife and her sister talking about the students who just not learning and just can't learning. And one day I was tired of it, and I'm walking through the room and they're talking. My wife is on the phone talking to her sister, and I go, "You all just can't teach." And I kept walking, and she was like, "What?" I'm like, "You all have all the students not learning, and you think it's the students' fault? It's not their fault. You all just can't teach." And my wife pouted, and she goes, "You don't know what you're talking about. You're not even a teacher." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a teacher. I use systematic instruction." She goes, "What's that?" And I'm like, "You'll find out." And she found out what systematic instruction is. You'll hear more about that too, because I put her in my stories too, everybody. So we just got to understand how to teach. The fact that a person is not learning does not mean that they cannot learn. It means that we haven't figured out how to teach them. So the question is not what can they learn, is what can you teach? Jimmy, I did 55 hours of discovery with Jimmy before we got him his job. Jimmy, when he came to us, the first thing they told us about Jimmy is that he has a memory loss and he doesn't remember anything. And because he cannot remember anything, he cannot hold the job. Jimmy has been on his job for about 5 years now, and he's doing very well. In fact, Jimmy, this picture was taken when the pandemic hits. And when everybody were going home because they don't want to get COVID, Jimmy was going out to work. And I got to Jimmy's job site one day, and Jimmy walked up to me, and he goes, "I am essential." And I'm like, I didn't know. I mean, that was a big word for me. And I'm like, "You're what? I thought you were Jimmy all this time." He said, "I'm essential." And I'm like, what are they talking about? What is he talking about? The morning before I got there, the employer had this conversation with the staff and told them that they are essential workers. And they're making the world run. In this pandemic, when everybody is taking cover, they're going out. They're essential workers. And Jimmy owned that and said, "I am essential." And when I understood what he's talking about, the first thing flashed to my mind that Jimmy came from cannot work, and now he's an essential worker. I'm like, this is really cool. How did this happen? It happened through discovery and systematic instruction. So here's the thing. Systematic instruction started with Dr. Mark Gold. You see, I consider myself a diehard disciple of Mark because Mark was before his time. Unfortunately, he died very young. But Mark was out of the University of Illinois, and he came up with the try another way. Okay, yes, so yes. So Mark came up with the try another way, and Mark's whole idea is, if it doesn't work one way, try another way. There's not just one way that is right. Keep figuring it out until you get there. There are 26 letters in the alphabet, right? So if plan A doesn't work, you got 25 more letters, right? So here's a quick clip of Mark giving a.
This is a bicycle brake. Since 1967, when we began this research, it has had a major impact on the development of my philosophy and on the techniques that have generated from our research. Its principal impact has been to point out the discrepancy between what people think are the capabilities of the severely handicapped, the mild and severely and profoundly retarded, and what they're really capable of doing. The hundreds of people that we've trained on this task, almost 100% of the time, have learned quickly and efficiently to do this. If they can learn to do this task which in and of itself means nothing at all, certainly many of the things that we have kept from them, complicated things to learn, we think, many of those things are things that they could learn, things that would allow them to join us as thoroughly participating members of society. This is Barbara. She's 19 years old and for the last 11 years has lived in an institution. According to her records, her IQ is 11, whatever that means. She's working with this task and with me for the first time. Good. She's more talkative than a lot of the people we work with. It's a pleasure to work with people like this because you can see the growth so fast. You can see changes in their dignity, in how they approach the task, how they feel about training. You listen to her complaining here, and yet her hands are cooking. Why can't the people we serve have their balances too? Why can't we give them genuine competence? Why can't we give them things that not everyone else has? The answer is that we can. As soon as we decide that they have the right to acquire really sophisticated, genuine skills, social skills, self-help skills, academic skills, etc., then they can have the same chunk of the action that we have.
Mark's dad owned a bicycle shop, and that's why he used the bicycle brake does the assembling. But the whole thing is that bicycle brake putting together is a very complex task. And Mark would use that. And this quick story, one day, Mark was at the institute teaching somebody else to do the bicycle brake. And there was a young man that they were like, okay, he's not ready for this yet. So let him sit off to the side. And he's sitting off to the side, and people are saying, okay, he's not ready, and he's observing. They're not teaching him. He's observing the instruction given to somebody else. And what he did, he started putting a bicycle brake together by just observing what someone else is being taught. And by the time that person was done, this young man was also finished. And this is somebody that they said he couldn't learn. And the whole thing about Mark is, look, if you have the right instructions, and if you're teaching somebody one way and it's not working, understand that it's not the person. Abort your style and try another way. And Mark pushed that thing, and this made so much difference in people's life. And we're seeing this today. Mark was a genius before his time. There's more that we're going to do. When we come back, we're going to deal with the the 7-phase sequence in systematic instruction. This is a big part of it. We're going to pause here and turn over to Linda for right now, and we go from there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, so on the schedule we have a break right now, and then we're going to come back, and I've got some other different things we're going to do for the breakout. But we can do it either way. You can stay in here and we can do our breakout sessions right now and then kind of break for lunch, or if you need to check out, we can go do that now. So what do y'all need to do, or would rather? Okay, well, we're going to try and meet back here. So that's 30 minutes. I will take a 30-minute break to check out and do your bags and everything, and then come back. And then we're going to do some breakout sessions. And we're going to talk about your projects in these. So it's just going to be for you beneficially to come that. So think about your projects and bring that back. And we're going to break into... Okay. And when we come back, we're going to break into groups. The people that were like a community supports for your projects will come back into here. And Teresa's going to be on there. She's going to facilitate that. And Judy's going to talk anybody that has a project with transition. And she's just going to be over here in this corner. And then we'll meet outside, and Jonna's going to lead the group for education, and Holly will lead for transportation. So if your project falls within one of those groups, meet with that person, and if it's somewhere around there, we'll put you in one of the groups and talk about that. All right, we'll see y'all in about 30 minutes.